Hello everybody, this is Kyrix with more of This Week in Kyrix, actually. Today is Wednesday, July 26th of 2017. And, I don't have a HeroClix report because for the next month, those will take place today, and I'm actually doing this in the morning for a change, rather than just waiting until, Wednesday night to get this shit done. So I can only speculate on what's going to happen today. Judge actually texted me earlier saying that tonight, after clicks, the plan is to go to TGI Fridays for Endless Apps. He's like, hey, you in? My wife's going. His wife, not mine. I'm like, I've got $9, so if someone spots me, I'd be happy to go, but I can't do it myself. On a uprising note, or an upward note rather, I got my money, finally. I put in a call last week on the 20th-ish, and told Social Security, hey, any updates here? And they told me something that should have been told to me when I called the first time, which was, well, we can't really do much here. If you go up to the Social Security office, they can get something going. And my response, well, was thank you, but my response when I hung up was, gee, I wish you'd told me that 2 fucking weeks ago. But, of course, at the time, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm thinking, I can't go to the Social Security office at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I would be there all day. So I procrastinated and did Kyrix shit, like I do. And I decided that the following day I would wake up bright and early at 7:30 in the morning and get showered and changed. March on up to the Social Security office and arrive at 8:30 when they open the doors to let people in to pre-register. That is, to get your number early. And then I would sit in the office and get in bright and early and be done with it early in the day, and that didn't fucking happen. Stayed up all night, basically trying to play games of Skinner online. Trying because, that wacky internet decided to just fucked me right in the ass, and it cut out that day. I actually did that last night too, but that's another story. But internet cut out on me, and I stayed up until about 5 in the morning, and I finally went to bed. The idea was I'm going to nap until 7:30, when my alarm will wake me up. My alarm woke me up, and I looked at it, and I'm like, well, another 2 hours couldn't hurt. So I went back to sleep, and that alarm woke me up. And I basically said, fuck it, sleeping, and went back to sleep. And woke up at noon 30. Not that horrible. So I get up, I'm like, okay, it's noon 30, I'm a poop. Walk into the bathroom, come out, thunderstorm. For those playing the home game, I own a bike. Not a car, a bike. It is ill-advised to bike in a thunderstorm. So I did not. So I'm sitting here just kind of bitching to myself, it's gonna be another day, ba 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 ba, like you do. And it's about 2:30 in the afternoon, and I realize that I can hear the sound of a lawnmower. People generally don't mow the lawn in the rain, so I looked outside and sure enough, cleared up. So I got showered and changed, and fucking hopped on the bike, and I get there. Actually, these times are off. I get there about 1:30. Now, for those who don't know, yeah, I'll buy one of these. For those who aren't aware, which may be a lot of you, it may be all of you for all I fucking know, the Social Security office around here closes at 4 p.m. Spoilers, I got home at 5 or 5:30. Because here's what happened. I get up there, I wait about 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, not a long wait. And I get called up to the window, and I go to the window. There's about, let's say, 30 windows. It's probably like 28, but we're going to say 30 for the purposes of this story, because it doesn't really matter, but I need a number. I'm called up to window 1. This has no significance to anything, I'm just making the point. Ooh, nice, these things. Okay. So, yeah, I get up to window 1, no big deal. talk to the guy, explain, hey, they fucked up the paperwork, I'm supposed to get a check. You know, I'm under the appeal process, I've signed paperwork saying I would get my check during the appeal. And he checks, and it's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I forget exactly what he said, but he starts to dish out paperwork. I'm like, what's this for? He's like, oh, this is to file the appeal. I'm like, dude, I filed the appeal. And he's like, I don't see it. And he looks, and sure enough, there it is. So he just kind of looks flummoxed, and why not? You know, I'm not here to tell him how to do his job. And he's like, okay, I'm going to put this in the system, and you go sit down, and someone will call your name. So I sit for another 45 minutes, maybe an hour. At one point, I actually get up and ask the security guard, I'm like, did they call my name? And she's like, well, ask the guy in window 1. So I wait for window 1 to empty, which ironically, it's not that I was to ask the guy I went to, it's just, that's the guy you ask, and he happened to have been the one I got. So I go up to the guy in window 1, he's like, oh yeah, you're still in the system, there's like one more person ahead of you, you're good. It's about, let's say, 3:45 at this point, so we're getting close to closing time. I'm not worried, because, you know, I get this done, and I go home, you know. They call me up, and I talk to the lady, and we go over it, and sure enough, there's all sorts of errors in there, and she's like, okay, what we can do is we can basically set up a critical payment, like, hey, you need money, you've got bills, etc. Go sit down, and they will call your name. And I sit down, and place closes, it's just me and like 3 other people, they call my name, I go do the thing, you know, I talk to the lady, and, you know, we get the stuff done, and I get out of there like 4:30 or so, takes me about a half an hour to get home, no big deal. They tell me, okay, it's all done, it'll take a couple days to hit the thing, and I got it like 2 days, I got it Saturday, that's what I want to say. So I got my money, I immediately paid off the roommate. He basically woke up and I'm telling him, hey, money's in the bank, you know, as in I quick paid it to him. Couldn't do the pet bills because they're not open Saturday for the payment office, so I call Monday, get that all squared away, no big deal. Friggin' yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, they all kind of run together for me, or not this morning, but Tuesday morning rather, I go look at the, there's a word for it, the mail, and there's a letter for me from the landlord. I'm freaking out, thinking, oh god, this is going to be some kind of stupid eviction thing. The roommate said he paid him and that he wasn't going to do this, etc., etc. And I'm just a combination of pissed off and worried. As you would be in my situation. You know? I'm like, no, relax, dude, relax. He can't evict you, you paid your rent, you know? I mean, fucking first fucking, what's the word, offense of late rent. Still the same month, late rent. You know, he's not going to evict you over that. It's got to be chronic shit. And the one thing that did come up is apparently I'm paying $100 more than I was told I was being paid. He's like, well, he'll knock it down to $450 for you, but you owe a $50 late fee. The bill that I got, because that's what it was. He sent me a bill, not an eviction thing. You know, I couldn't wait. I had to see it and know what the fucking damage was. It turns out it's just a bill. It says, you know, you have until the 25th to pay this, and it's the 26th today. This shit was done, you know, Saturday. So I'm not concerned. And if I get another thing saying, hey, you didn't pay, I'll tell him, dude, I paid the roommate on Saturday, and if he didn't pay you, that's not my problem. You didn't give me any means to pay you directly. But I'm a little miffed that, as broke as I am, I'm apparently having to pay $100 more than I was told. Because the bill said $400. He left me with the impression that I'm paying $450 normally, and that he's charging an extra $50 for being late, so $500. So that may or may not get addressed, depending on how miffed I get about the whole thing. My mother, as it turns out, on a less good news, is apparently having to move. Because her lease is up, and the lease was originally gotten with my sister. I know gotten isn't a word. Fuck you. I'm using it. Now, my sister moved out of there like 6 months into living there. She couldn't stand them. They couldn't stand her because no one can fucking stand her. I don't think she's ever voluntarily moved out of any place she's ever lived in her fucking life. You know, it's just, she's a garbage human being, if you can even call her that. She's got almost no redeeming quality. She's a fucking crackhead. She's on so many hard drugs. Her fucking heart's trying to explode because she just did nothing. You know, she fucking had open heart surgery and she's still fucking doing crack and heroin. I mean, what the fuck, man? Still drinks, still smokes, still on fucking crack and heroin. She's just garbage. Just, there's nothing good about her. And it just... But, she was on the lease, and she's not there now, so my mom can't renew the lease. Which is bullshit, because she's lived there for basically 2 fucking years. Never missed rent and all that other fun shit. Got 2 or 3 people living with her who are all paying rent. Why don't they renew her lease? It's fucking stupid. So basically her roommates are having to get their own place, and mom is likely gonna have to go to a nursing home again. And we don't know what they're doing with her cat. Because she can't take it with her, and she doesn't want a roommate to have it. And I can't take it because I have too many, and that cat doesn't get along with other cats, and I am the definition of having other cats. So... Plus, apparently they're not continuing her food stamps, so she doesn't have that either. And the nursing home's going to take her check, so it's just... As I'm getting back on my feet, world's fucking falling apart for her, and it's bullshit. But, on a side note, my aunt actually visited me, I think, 2 days ago. By the way, after I got my check, I had a small amount of money, like 20, 30 bucks left, right? And I basically decided I need to buy food with it. Now, I have food stamps, so I hate spending cash on food, because food stamps can only buy food, but cash can buy anything, so don't waste cash on food unless you literally have no other option. But I had to buy food. And even then, I'm running low, so my aunt basically said, hey, are you interested in another turkey? You know, because we still have all of them, you know. So she comes up, her son and husband, who I want to point out, do not like anyone. They pretty much are the crotchetiest human beings alive. And I'm not being insulting when I say this, because they'd be the first person to go, yeah, we don't really like people. Apparently offered to donate a pizza they had, a 4-meat Red Baron pizza, which I ate that day. Real good stuff. And a turkey, which they had that in abundance, so that's not that big a deal. But they also gave her 30 bucks to just go shopping at either Walmart or the dollar store and get me a ton of food, which she did. I've got like 2 loaves of bread, some peanut butter, some jelly, some eggs, some brownie mix, some cooking oil, which I didn't need, but she got it for me anyway for the brownies. Fucking boxes of mac and cheese, some ham, some cheese for the sandwiches, you know, good amount of stuff. And some noodles, which I won't eat, and gave to the roommates. She's fine with that, you know. And a Hershey pie. Good stuff, that. But, so, I'm good on food. Because that same day, I had actually bought some little apple pies from Save-A-Lot. Little hand-sized boxes. They look kind of like a Hot Pocket, you know. But they're little apple pies. Bought 4 of those, 50 cents each. Bought some mac and cheese. I'm decent on food for a little bit. Or at least I was, and then she gave me more food, and now I'm great on food. Here, have some horseradish. So yeah, that's the thing. Oh, that's the other thing. Saturday. Remember, Saturday's when I got paid. Saturday's when my aunt got this stuff. Saturday's when I bought all this food. Saturday's also when I played Star Trek. No, don't eat a daffodil. Pretty sure that's not edible. In real life. Fucking Japanese people will eat anything. Of course, I gotta keep reminding myself, I don't think this game is Japanese. I mean, could be wrong. For all I know, fucking Chucklefish, whatever that other one is. I can't remember what the other one is, but for all I know, they're a Japanese company. Here. You're welcome, Haley. But anyway, got up there, played Star Trek. Funny thing, we had this special event. Here, whichever one of you gets it, I guess it's you. No, here, have it. You're welcome, Jazz. And now you have become one person. One hideous abomination. But we were doing a redoing of the Mutara Nebula scenario that you get when you buy the Reliant, which is no weapons beyond range 1, no shields, no cloak, no scans, etc. Well, the no cloak thing I thought was just a mechanical thing because you have to have shields to disable to cloak. So I was going to play a Romulan ship from Archer's era called the Praetus, which can cloak without shields. So I'm thinking, that's clever. I get up there. Turns out, no, just no cloak period, even if they could cloak without shields. So he's like, well, why'd you paying 28 points for shit you can't use? Because you can't use the weapons on the Praetus that work with cloaks. You can't use the torpedo without blowing yourself up, because it's beyond range 1. Even though it can be fired at range 1, it just apparently has feedback damage, which is stupid. But he's like, yeah, you can't really do anything with any of this, so why are you bothering? Well, as luck would have it, you may recall that last month, no, don't eat that, I took second place in a tournament. And from that second place, I earned $15 of store credit. Well, I promptly used that $15 to pre-order a ship called the Rotaran. It's a Klingon ship. Worf actually served on it. Pretty cool shit there. So, you know, I've got the Rotaran sitting up there. And I spent my $15 of store credit, and I used cash to get, you know, the tax. So here I am with the fucking Rotaran. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'll play the Rotaran. And it actually played pretty well for me. In my rankings, I did horrible. I was 5th place out of 6. I won one round just rather decisively. Second round, I got completely swept under the rug. I didn't get a single point. You know, he took my whole fleet. Third round, I was very close to winning. Basically, if I hadn't gotten greedy, or if I'd built the Rotaran slightly differently, I would have won. Because it was down to the Rotaran with like 1 or 2 hits versus one of his ships with 1 or 2 hits. It would have been very easy for me to get that hit if I'd been a little more careful than I was. And I wasn't careful enough, so I fucking paid. It happens, you know. But I had fun. That was the important thing. It really was. Really was important that I had fun, because it wasn't... I was going up there knowing that I'm not winning this. This scenario is too fucking weird. It's too strange to build around, you know. So I do not see myself adapting in time to really pull this off. I'm like, oh, you can't have a defeatist attitude. It's not necessarily a defeatist attitude. It's not like, oh, I can't win. It's called knowing my limitations. I have a very specific play strategy, and it really doesn't work well in this particular scenario, because I like to cloak. I like to have shields. I like to have active and passive defenses. And I was denied a lot of that shit for this build, so I couldn't function as well as I should, you know. And I'm not bitching about it. I mean, you know, there are just limitations to shit. That's one of mine. But next month's tournament's going to be a blast. It's going to be a $16 tournament. So basically we're going to pay for the cost of a ship and then have $1 for stuff. And what we're doing is apparently, and this was, I think this was the store owner who suggested this, get a bunch of the ships in his stock, actual full-on pay them money like the Rotaran ships, and figure out a way. We'll figure something out. Like I suggested, for example, just putting a number on each ship and then putting them in a hat and drawing them out. That's my suggestion. He's like, yeah, I thought of that too. We don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to put money in. Each of us will get a brand new ship that we will open, and we have to play the ship, but we do not have to play the shit in the ship. And we can put whatever cards we want on the ship. But it's going to be a 200-point build, and my particular contribution to this was we can use any resources. We can use old resources. Because I pointed out that for the old resources, you can just go on eBay, and the guy's like, well, it's kind of bad form to suggest that. I think that if you have to go to eBay for it, it's... I'm sitting there like, dude, there's resources right now I have to go to eBay for that are legal, because you guys won't just give them to me, even though I've been playing here and you have extras. Because here's the thing. You tend to get about 10 resource cards per prize kit, and I know this because I've owned prize kits. We rarely have 8 people. We usually have about 6, so there are surplus. And there were less people showing up before I started coming in again. So, but I basically said, look, I have like 90% of the old, what are they called? Not prize kits. The old, let's go for 230 on these. Like the old resource cards. And you can only use one resource per person. So what I told him, I'm like, I can bring in my, because they're all in a baggie, I can bring in my baggie of resources. You know, if anyone wants to borrow a resource, I'll bring the baggie. Like I said, it's a 200-point fleet, the idea of just fully loaded ships. Now, for those who don't know, the average game is 130, which basically you run 50-50-30, or that. So this is basically 6 50-point ships, which is, as the judge pointed out, like, dude, that's right up your alley. That's how you play. You play lots of fully loaded ships. And the money is a bit of a hurdle for me, because I'm usually very tight budgeted. But then it occurred to me that due to how I was able to arrange things this month with borrowing money, I no longer am beholden to Amscot. I paid them off, and I haven't gone back to get more money from them. Which means that I am saving $16 a month. Lo and behold, that's how much next month's tournament cost. So I'm basically, Amscot's paying for my tournament. So yeah, I'm actually really excited about this one. It sounds really fun. I get a ship out of it. A full-on, not a prize that I need to maybe buy a ship for. Because the new prize kits, like if I had won the Delta Flyer 2, I would have had to buy the Delta Flyer ship to play it, you know. But no, this is just, hey, you get a ship that's ready to go. You can play it just as it is. It's got all the shit you need to play it properly. Maybe not to play it well, but to play it properly, you know. And yeah, I'm fucking stoked. I get to play my old resources. I'm probably going to play either Flagship, which is what my current build reflects, or the Counterattack die, which is really cool. But I'm so excited about this. This is going to be a lot of fun. So that covers most of this week, but not all of it. And lo and behold, there's still one more day here in Stardew Valley for me to play. Let's take this and this. I don't think they'll let me sell that, though. I keep trying to sell that fucking slingshot and they'll never take it from me. It pisses me off. Let's try and get up to the fucking monster merchant. Sell him my goodies. But yeah, there's still one more day of Stardew Valley for me to play out. And a couple more things for me to mention. I had started reading the book, Master and Commander, by Patrick O'Brien, which I'm familiar with the movie, The Master and Commander, Far Side of the World, which pulls from like 2 to 6 of his books, you know. And I love that movie. It's one of my favorites. So I wanted to read the books. There's a problem with the books. The story takes place in Napoleonic England, or at least the waters patrolled by ships from Napoleonic England. So we're talking like 18th century here. Or not, I'm sorry, 19th century, you know, the 1800s. So I'm dealing with 1800 fucking English slang and ways of talking and all that. I'm not understanding half of it. Okay, I can muddle through that. It's also a book about sailing ships. And when sailors are on a sailing ship, they talk in sailor terms. So, in addition to this fucking archaic English dialect, I'm also having to read nautical terms that I don't get. like the mizzenmast. Which, to be fair, there is a diagram explaining what all these different masts and sails are. But I'm not understanding this, because I don't want to keep flipping back to the front of the book to look at it. You know? 814. Well, what does my dagger do? 410. 814, 810. Silver Saber's not bad. 917. I've got the money. Let's go for the Templar Blade. As cute as this little dagger is, get rid of it. Okay, now I've got a real sword. Is this? Yep, this is a donate. So I decided, okay, I'm reading this book and I'm literally skipping half the paragraphs because my brain fuzzes as I try to read these terms and it's not translating into proper American English into my head. So I'm like, okay, I'll get the audiobooks and let someone else read to me. Maybe I'll grasp it better, maybe I won't. Can't hurt, right? It's free, as long as I get it turned in on time. So I actually uploaded it to the PlayStation. And don't worry, those copyright people, when I'm done I will erase them for space if nothing else. But this way I can basically marathon the series. I've got the first 2 books on audiobook up here. I'm going to listen to them in the next couple days. Maybe tonight I might grind out some stuff for 4-Job Fiesta while listening to this, you know. Options abound. But I've got it. I've got it and Post Captain, which is the second book. And I'm going to get all the thing on audiobook and listen to them and try to enjoy the series, because I do enjoy the movie. Maybe I'll enjoy the books. Hopefully. But to get those, I naturally had to go to the library. What did I do at the library? Of course I did the same thing at the library I always do. I played Pokemon. How did you do, Kyrix? I smoked him. We actually did something a little unusual. One of the guys wanted to do multi-battles. For those who don't know, a multi-battle is a double battle between 4 players, where each player contributes 3 Pokemon and you're on teams. And my team did very, very well. I had a Crustle named Marble, after Marble Pie from Pony. And she is terrifyingly strong. She has ridiculously high levels of endurance, and she can take hits that should kill her. I was the last person to lose a Pokemon because she is so goddamn strong. She just lapped off what few hits they sent her way. They were more worried about my opponent. And she took a couple hits from him because he earthquaked. He didn't necessarily consult me on the first one, but I didn't care because it didn't do shit to her. You know? And I smoked the hell out of these guys. Let's go with this. Let's grow shit faster. It'll throw off my count, but I don't care. And of course, I did some singles battles, which I always do singles. I love me some singles battles. Oh, thank you. What is this? It is a catfish. I will treasure it. Catfishes are a pain in the ass for me to get for the fish thing. I will not keep it, but I will nonetheless treasure it because you have saved me some time. I think that was actually from, what's his name? From Linus. Yeah, I think that might have been a gift from Linus. But, I actually only lost 1 battle today, and I told the guys about the shiny Tapu Koko, which is the current mystery gift giveaway, and they're all like, that's a thing? I'm like, that's a thing. Timid, shiny Tapu Koko, which is the nature you really want for Tapu Koko. And everyone's real excited. No one really had access to internet at the time, but they were all excited, and they're going to get them, hopefully. Hopefully it's still active. If not, I have 2 spares. You know. And I might be persuaded, if necessary, to give away my own personal one, because shinies don't really do it for me, per se. And I do have a normal Timid Tapu Koko that I just caught. Because that's a thing I did this week. I beat Pokemon Moon. Because I wanted to get some extra Tapu Kokos. And to do that, you need Sun or Moon. I have both, but you can only get each one once. So how you do this is you erase one of your saves, start a new game, get him, transfer him, erase the save, etc. Well, I'm not doing that on Pokemon Sun, which has all of my everything. So I'm like, okay, I'll just erase Moon. Well, I'm playing Moon, and I'm like, wait a second. I'm like 2/3 of the way through this game. I'm gonna beat the game and get all the endgame stuff that I don't have. Like, get playable Ultra Beast and playable Tapus and a playable Lunala. And then get a Cosmog that's also playable, which I'm going to give to Anubis, because he wants a usable Solgaleo. And I don't blame him, it's a good Pokemon. So yeah, I got all that stuff, grabbed a couple items, talked to a friend, she helped me transfer everything, also gave me some bottle caps. And I got the 2 bottle caps from that, one from Magearna, one from beating the trainer. Likewise, she had those 2 and gave them to me. And I got my shards, so I had 2 fucking more bottle caps. So yeah, I ended up with 6 bottle caps, and I'm on the road to getting 2 more. Those who don't know, when you have a Pokemon at level 100, you can give a bottle cap to this guy, and he will give your Pokemon a perfect stat. There are these things called individual values, IVs. An individual value affects, to a small degree, your Pokemon's final stats. At level 100, you get a point in the stat added extra for every individual value they have. They range from 0 to 31. So if my individual value for speed was 5, and my normal level 100 stat for speed would be, say, 215, you would, at level 100, I would get 5 more and be 220. So having 31s in all the relevant stats is a very good thing. And that's one of the 2 ways you do it. The other way is extensive and exhaustive breeding. Not that big a deal. Time-consuming, but not impossible, except in terms of legendaries, mythicals, tapus, basically unbreedable supermons. Those you get generally 1 of, although the Ultra Beasts you can have as many as 4 depending on the species. Like, I have 4 Pheromosas, for example. And once you have those, you've just got them. So you try very hard. Originally, you would try very hard to get a good nature. And you would also try very hard to get IV spreads as good as you could, usually 3 or 4. And you would just hope that you get both at the same time. Well, now, with hyper training, you just need the nature. And every legendary-ish thing is guaranteed 3 to 4 anyway, so then you just use bottle caps on the rest, and hope that one of your perfect stats isn't in a garbage stat, in one of your dump stats. Like, for Mewtwo, if you're running Mewtwo Y, which is a special attacker, you don't want a perfect stat in attack, because he doesn't use that stat. But if you have it, no biggie, you know, bottle cap. You just gotta spend 1 more. Anyway, that'll do it for me. I had a reasonably good week. We'll see what next week holds for me. Hopefully next week holds some good shit for me. Who can say? Oh, I actually played a couple games of Armada finally. I'm trying to learn the XCOM board game. And on Tabletop Simulator, Armada has just been updated as of like 20 hours ago. You know? So it's up to date. All the ships that exist in the real game are now in the tabletop game. So see y'all next week. Bye-bye.